Yo. What up, YouTube? Topaz Yates back with another Live from the Underground. Here we go in on particular topics that's going on in the music industry. And today, wanted to touch on this Kanye West getting kicked off of IG and the whole dilemma, everything that's going on. As I tried to stay away from it because a lot of it is ultimate nonsense. And I feel as though, Kanye, you winning, getting out from under Kim Kardashian, but that's a whole nother story. But when they decided to go ahead and kick Kanye off of IG only for 24 hours, so this ain't a really big thing, but when they decided to do that for what he was calling Trevor Noah, that's where I got to go ahead and analyze this for everybody to watch, because I don't see an issue. Like, okay, the first thing that I saw, we gonna call it rodent on rodent crime. That's the YouTube analytic, IG analytic safe way to say it. You feel me? Now, reason why I say this is because Kanye in himself, he's done a lot of super suspect things, especially being negative towards the black community. Now, I'm not a big Trevor Noah fan. Why? Because I don't feel as though he's very funny. And I get my news from better, more trustworthy people than him. But for Kanye to call him a rodent, I must deem that as something noteworthy to see, because, it must take one to know one, clearly. So I decided to delve into, studying of Trevor Noah and his stance on certain issues to see if he does apply to this talk. So what is a rodent? Let's get the definition out the way. It's an Uncle Tom or a house Negro. Usually they were the children of the slave master. Mulattoes were usually the slave master who would rape the slaves, and they have kids, and they allow their kids to stay in the house. Therefore, they were the house Negroes. And these were the most deceptive and worst of the people that were on the entire plantation, because whenever there would be a rebellion, whenever the black people would rise up to fight to get their freedom, it would usually be these individuals who would sell out everybody, because they identify more with the slave master than they did with the slaves. Even though they were clearly enslaved, they just had more favor amongst the slave plantation than those who were working in the field. But is this term, the rodent, an actual racial slur? I don't think so. I think it's more of an exact definition of an individual who has a particular mindset. I think, this is like saying, could you say that cracker is a racial slur? See, people of the dominant society will say yes, because they're trying to come up with something that is just as bad, quote unquote, as them saying the N-word, so it gives them the right to continue to say it, or to say it even though clearly years and years and years of the N-word being used in the context that it has done nothing but deteriorate and ruin an entire race of people. Name calling the dominant society a cracker, that don't hurt nobody. There's no actual punishment that happens from that. But when they come out and say the N-word with the hard ER, usually that goes along with prison sentences. Usually that goes along with getting lynched. Usually that goes along with actual harm. All of these jokes that they tell with each other, usually that goes along with them making sure that we cannot prosper. You understand? There's a clear difference between name calling, making jokes, and actually using these things in order to take advantage of us. You feel me? Like the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. Did you know that they started as a joke? Like this whole organization of people was more of just a joke from, was it Jim Crow? Maybe before Jim Crow? But these individuals decided to wear white sheets as a joke, as a ghost, to go out and scare black people. That became more than a joke now, didn't it? We still see that to this day. Exactly how devastating their jokes on black people can ultimately go. But I have yet to see any name calling from black people actually turn into anything anywhere near as vicious as what they do. Let's just put that point blank period out there as facts. But so now that you know what a rodent is, why do I say that this is quite possibly rodent on rodent crime? Because when you look at Kanye West and his actions, I mean, just look at, I chose this image for a reason. When you wear the MAGA hat, when you're calling Trump daddy, when you, like, Trump was the godlike figure for open white supremacists. The people that stormed the Capitol on the 6th. That's who you are looking up to and doing the most for, Kanye. When you are rocking the clothes that is the symbolic nature of this day and age of white supremacy, yeah, you fit into the rodent category, fam. I'm sorry, it is what it is. But on top of that, when he had talking points like, yo, did you know that slavery was a choice? Choice for who? Not the people that were dragged over here from Africa, not the people that was already here, that they used their warfare weapons to hold them up and force them to work. The only other choice that you have was to get lynched and get murdered. That's the only other choice. So is that an actual choice, Kanye? And then how he was talking greasy about Harriet Tubman? What? The hero? Harriet Tubman that freed more people than Kanye West ever have, and she had far less money. Let's not get it mistaken. Kanye could be freeing people. But instead, it seemed as though the only one in that marriage that actually freed somebody would be Kim Kardashian. It is what it is. But so, can we equivalent Trevor Noah to this rodent? And you know, as I studied him, looked into him just a little bit, I didn't have the time to go over all of his stances on particular things. But when I go ahead and look at it, there's some questions. There's some questions, but I cannot say definite like Kanye. You feel me? Like, okay, when I looked into Trevor Noah and his stance on reparations, that's usually like the go-to thing that you can tell if you's a rodent or not. This is like cut and dry. Either you for it or you're not. If you making up excuses and saying things outside of the scope, then usually you fall into the rodent category. What is his stance? Instead of cutting the check, he wants to study it. That's not a good look. Because that's exactly what the HR 40 bill is, for those of you who don't know. HR 40 bill is a bill that has been talking about slavery, that's been on the books for quite some time, but never got passed on anything. That don't be surprised when HR 40 passes, but yet people don't realize HR 40 isn't cutting the check. It isn't doing for black people. It is, okay, we gonna study this reparations to see what all we can do. That's all that HR 40 is. So they're gonna spend another 100 years trying to study it instead of actually making it happen. Like how they made it happen for Asians. When Asians needed money, oh, they got it. Like they doing for Ukrainians right now. Like, dog, they somehow found billions of dollars that they want to sign into law to send over there to the Ukraine, and then bring a bunch of these white nationalists. A lot of them, you know, they have actual parts of the government, part of the military, are known for being some of Trump's people. There's good people on both sides, clearly, Biden, huh? Biden clearly sees good on both sides, just like Trump. But that's his stance on cutting the check. We need to study it. We need to spend 100 years on it instead of actually doing it like they do for everybody else. Not a good look. On top of, he's biracial. As I said, you know, typical rodents were the children of the slave masters who raped their slaves and ended up being biracial, and they identify more with the oppressor than those who they are oppressed with. And then on top of it, he's an immigrant from South Africa. Now, these people, immigrants, we're having a lot of issues with them here right now in America. As black Americans, foundational black Americans, we have a lot of issues with them because when they come over here, they do exactly what the biracial immigrants off the slave plantations do. You feel me? They side with the oppressor until there comes that moment where, oh, now racism is finally getting us. Oh, black people, you need to come save us, like the Africans in the Ukraine. I'm sure, I can't definitely say, but 9 times out of 10, I'm sure a lot of those students that's out there in Africa, a lot of them were on some, oh, we're better than black Americans because we get accepted by white daddy. White people like us. We're here in the Ukraine. We're going to school. But it's only until they get the smackdown laid on them by Poland and by the Ukraine for not allowing them to cross the borders. Oh, only when that happens will they, oh, racism does exist. These people don't really like me like that. It's only until everything foundational black Americans tell you happens to you specifically will you actually believe. Like, one of the main reasons why I got my issues with, say, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, who goes out of her way, like Kanye West, to diss the heroes, the legends of foundational black Americans, from Malcolm X. As he looking out the window, she perceived that as a diss. Talking about, you need to go ahead, get to the back of the bus. See, only when she's not getting the acclaim that she feels she deserves, only when she's not getting the magazine covers, but yet Billie Eilish is getting these magazine covers because she dyed her hair green, but yet Nicki Minaj had her hair dyed pink and set that trend for so long, but yet somehow she gets on Vogue before Nicki Minaj, only after she comes to that realization, oh, these people don't support you. These people aren't backing you. Only when Nicki Minaj realizes this years later, it becomes, oh, we as black people need to support each other. Now you black? I thought you was from the islands. Ain't that what you said? Aren't you the one that was going against black Americans, saying how we lazy and stuff like that? Maybe I'm mistaken on that one. But Nicki Minaj has said some shicey stuff about black Americans because she didn't perceive herself as one until she realized what we were saying was true. And that is a typical thing that we see with a lot of these immigrants. And Trevor Noah got that. And the last strike that I would say is you always beware. Always beware of anyone, especially black people, that the commercial media here in America is elevating, that they have accepted, regardless of if they're liberal or conservative. Usually, in order for them to get to that position, they are going to do something, or they have done something for, or they agree with, in a lot of contexts, a lot of things that the dominant society will continue to throw on black people. As we've seen, after 1 year of being under Biden, 4 years of being under Trump, 8 years of being under Obama, it's all the same thing. The same hatred, the same vitriol. No matter if it's Democrat, no matter if it's Republican, it's all the same hatred that keeps us down. When Trayvon Martin got murdered, what did the black president with the black DOJ that had the House and the Senate, all Democrats, what did they do for us? He sang Al Green. What did Trump do? Nothing. As we expected. We knew Trump was going to do nothing. We expected that from him. But what did Obama do? He signed into law the Blue Lives Matter bill. Oh! What has Biden done? Biden's DOJ, for those of you who don't know, his Department of Justice, were going out of their way to try to dismantle the Ahmaud Arbery the Ahmaud Arbery case. That all those people that lynched Ahmaud Arbery, they went to jail. The DOJ of Biden saw this happening, and they tried to go in and give these people fed time instead of the state time, because fed time was going to be more lenient because the jails of federal penitentiaries are better than state run, clearly. The DOJ tried to undermine the parents of Ahmaud Arbery and say that don't disregard what they are saying. The right way of justice would be to go ahead and put these people into the federal pit house. Instead of doing what the parents actually desired from the outset, the parents was like, we want to see these people see the harshest prison time that there is. But for you to come out and try to give them their own choice of jailing, to give them their own choice, that would be a slap in the face. That would be laughing at them even while sentencing these people to jail. That's your DOJ. That's the Biden DOJ. There's nothing positive that has come from any of it. You feel me? Each side of this is not on the side of black people. So therefore, beware of anybody that gets accepted from either side of the liberal or conservative of the media, the commercial media. Anybody, regardless of if it's black or not, beware of them. These are all the question marks that I have for Trevor Noah. But I will not say I seen anything overt. I cannot say for a fact that he is a rodent, because a bunch of these things that he has his point of view on, they're not entirely like out of the realm of factuals. Like when he was talking about Joe Rogan, like usually the rodents is out there on some forgive. We gotta forgive Joe Rogan. He ain't did nothing to nobody. He's spreading the truth and all that stuff. But when you look at Trevor Noah's point of view, it really wasn't a point of view. He tried to call it down the middle. And as he tried to call it down the middle, he realized that, Joe Rogan deserved all of the criticism that he got. He deserved everything that he had coming to him. You feel me? He came to a quality conclusion, but he didn't go all the way in though. Like he walked the fence, and that's what he does time and time again. I'm not gonna say perfectly, but he walks the fence of a black man in this commercial media where he's more on the side of liberal. But yet he's never going to go completely out of his way to fight for and do anything specifically for black people. No. He walks the line and he gives you the actual, he gives you definition terms and logical arguments. And I don't have too much of an issue against that. I mean, you walking the line, and as I told you, he got a lot of strikes against him, and as he's walking the line, it makes me feel like, he definitely is, but there's no definite evidence to prove it, so I'm not going to label him something without definite evidence. But the questions piled up though. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, why is it that Kanye going so ham on Trevor Noah? The reason why he's going so ham on Trevor Noah is because Trevor Noah went on ahead and gave his own 2 cents on the whole Kim Kardashian, Kanye, and Pete Davidson situation that's playing itself out in the media, where this is not a good look for Kanye, as we're beginning to see people are spinning everything that he's saying, and they're trying to come up with their own renditions of things and apply it to their own issues. And that's exactly what Trevor Noah did. See, because Trevor Noah is trying to spin this as in Kanye West is committing some kind of domestic violence, some kind of verbal harassment, some type of harassing Kim Kardashian because she's trying to move on with her life with some other guy. And what makes matters worse is when you pull up these videos, you realize they're trying to raise money. They're making these videos as fundraisers for domestic violence. So in all actuality, yes, as much as people are trying to deny it, yes, Trevor Noah is suggesting that Kanye West is abusing Kim Kardashian. And what he's trying to do is he's using the music video of claymation, where he's decapitating Pete Davidson, trying to spin the tweets that Kanye West is saying, and pretty much trying to use every stance that Kanye has and twist it against him for his own agenda for domestic violence. And then when you look at him speaking about it, like when you watch the video that Trevor Noah is specifically speaking about the Kim Kardashian, Pete Davidson, all of this issues, like he points out, oh, Eminem did it, but that was his stick. What? You mean Eminem, who murdered his wife on multiple songs in way more gruesome terms than Kanye West is even capable of doing? You're giving that a pass. because that's who Eminem, that's what was expected of Eminem. You're giving that a pass. Therein lies what I'm saying. The rodents tend to side with the slave master more than the oppressed. But my thing is, in me as a music fan, I always was a fan of Eminem from the jump. You dig? And I never had any issue with him murdering Kim on all of these songs. Never did. I always perceived it as art. So it doesn't get to me, but yet I'm not going to come out and say, oh, Eminem can do it, but Kanye, for what Kanye is saying in his art of decapitating a head, I'm not going to say that Kanye can't do that. What kind of hypocritical nonsense is that? Kanye is one of the most diverse artists Kanye has changed music more times than what Eminem ever has. Kanye is more looked up to than what Eminem ever was, except for to the middle America audience, the Trumpers who turned their back on Eminem when he decided to make bars against Trump. Let's not ever forget that. But you trying to sit up here and say that Kanye can't be an artist, but yet you give Eminem a pass for way more. Like I said, man, I got questions. I got a lot of questions when it comes down to Trevor Noah. But he hasn't done anything overtly that you can label him a rodent, but it smells like it. It looks like it. A lot of these things that he be doing and the position that he's at, it fits. But I'm not gonna label him because there's no definite proof. But let's keep it all the way 1,000 and look at it in like 360 degrees. Why are people not asking if Kim Kardashian is in fact wrong? Why is no one asking this question? Why isn't people looking at it like, okay, Kanye is within his rights as an adult parent of a child to not want his child on TikTok? Do you guys know that there are whole areas on TikTok that are dedicated to 18 plus? And what are in these 18 plus areas of TikTok? You got your women twerking, trying to show off certain assets. You got these individuals giving their own sexualized stories. You got people giving suggestions of what types of videos to watch in the adult market sphere. Man, and a lot of these social networks, man, when you realize white supremacists use them to recruit people, whether it's in the gaming sphere where like Xbox Online, where people can actually conversate with people, they use that to recruit children. How areas like TikTok and all that stuff can be used for that same thing, because for some reason, a lot of their content don't get banned for a violation of conduct. You understand? Like, let's look at recently on IG of all places. Kylie Jenner released some nude images of herself because she's I guess she's just doing the typical of what that family does. But she released full-on nudity. And they didn't say anything about it. They just let that rock. IG was cool with it. But when women without that name, when women who are just trying to make do off of sexual gratification, only the OnlyFans generation, which I'm not here to protect them, I'm not here to cop pleas for them, but the OnlyFans generation, when they post certain things like that, they get violations of conduct. Or even individuals who reposted what Kylie Jenner posted. They got violation of conduct, not copyright strike. Not, okay, you reposted something that they're trying to monetize, that they're trying to make money off. No, not that. They got violation of conduct. For some reason, when people in the dominant society on these social media platforms, when they do something, they get a pass. That's against the violations of conduct. But when we do it, no. We get shadow banned. Which is what I perceive is one of the key reasons why my channel never seen the growth that I feel as though it deserves, based on the work that I put in and the work that I continue to put in to this day. Maybe because I'm too critical on topics like this when I speak my heart out and I say everything and I try to do the right thing and sanction myself on wrote it crying. But yet for some reason, when I'm the first one to post videos on something that everybody is searching for, my video don't pop up. But whatever though. But is Kanye West wrong for not wanting his child on TikTok that has whole areas dedicated to 18 plus and sexualizing youth? Why are they saying that they're 18 plus? Because clearly a lot of them don't look that way now, would it? Wouldn't that be true? Clearly this is an area in social media that is dedicated to children, TikTok. Why do they have 18 plus on any of this? Like social media as a construct, I don't think it's really the best thing for children. From cyberbullying, from 18 plus content, to people just showing what gets the most press, that gets the most views, is just ignorant fights, throwing chairs and stuff at teachers, busting their head wide open, bleeding. These are the things Cardi B trying to talk against it and all that stuff, but Cardi B's whole content is dedicated to all of this. WAP. This is what social media really promotes to the forefront. This is what all of the Instagram chicks that get popping, that's what they, to a degree, are selling. Am I right or am I wrong? Like them getting flew out. Them in all of the images, whether there's actual nudity or not. The actual images are showing a lot of scantily clad individuals. So is it wrong for Kanye West to be calling out the fact that social media is not the best place for children? For him to realize that it's a dangerous place. For him to be not wanting individuals to be part of that, his children to be part of that. Can you consider that harassment? Can we really consider Kanye West not wanting his children to be around Pete Davidson actual harassment? I mean, We talking Pete Davidson, the guy that, he's the best that Kim Kardashian can do. The guy that has to drive her cars. He can't buy her no cars, no. With his whatever money that he's making off of whatever, he can't do for Kim K like Kanye does for Kim K. So therefore, Pete Davidson, he's the son of Kanye because Kanye is clearly still doing for Kim K. And he's now taking advantage of what Kanye has been doing for Kim K. So ultimately, that's his new child. Okay, this is the best that you can do, Kim K. An individual that's going to let you put a branding iron of your name on him. What kind of weak dude is ever going to allow that to happen? The kind of dude that needs to go ahead and eat off of you. The kind of dude that needs to drive your cars to go out and get stuff. The kind of dude that's flexing the fact that he's with you instead of actually building with you. Let that settle in. But let's go more into the darker side. Is Kanye West wrong for not wanting Pete Davidson around his kids, a guy who jokes about sex with kids in his comedy specials? Where I actually watched one of his comedy specials. It wasn't that funny. But the actual joke that Kanye is talking about is he was talking about a teething child that decided to suck on his finger because the child was teething. And he begun like, oh, that felt too good. Huh. Does anybody find that funny? Even in the context of it? Even for those of you who watched it, did you actually laugh at that joke? I mean, and I feel as though the platform of jokes, when you get on that stage, any and everything can be said, as long as you got some punchlines that make it funny. Like, it's a sacred place, but when your punchlines ain't really coming, and you just going on like a rant like Kramer from Seinfeld did, then yeah, you should get beat up because it's no longer jokes. Now, I do feel as though Pete Davidson tried to make a joke here, but this joke wasn't funny. I need to see a track record of Pete Davidson and his activities with children. Like, is he in fact, or has he in fact walked the line of pedo? And they probably, if he did, they probably sealed it in some document somewhere. But until I see it, just like when it comes to calling a rodent, until I see the proof, until I see the evidence, and I understand that he's trying to make a joke here, it's just Pete Davidson is not very funny. I mean, he has his moments on Saturday Night Live. I'm not going to take that away from him. But for the most part, though, when it comes time to being an actual comedian, stand-up comedian, he's not very good at it. But I wouldn't let my kids be around that, though. Like, if there was ever a question in any of your jokes that I have any issues with, I'm not okay with my kids being around that. Not saying that I have kids. I'm not okay with my nephews being around that. Not okay with any of that. If you have any kind of question at all, I'm not okay with that. So I feel Kanye for what he's saying, even though I feel as though that was more of a joke. That was just a dumb joke, not a good one. But it does arise questions. So I do feel you, Kanye. But then also, like, can we all just see that he's a scumbag, Pete Davidson? Like how, like, stories just recently came out about how Mac Miller did the same kind of trolling that he's doing to Kanye, where he's in the bed. They say, quote unquote, leaked message. He just didn't want it to come from him. Like, who else was in this conversation in order for this to get leaked? Clearly, he intended for this to be leaked. If he's telling his friends or showing his friends private messages that he's having with someone, he clearly wanted it to get out. Especially if you sending it instead of showing it to somebody. But so the leaked message that he had is him trolling about, oh, where am I at? I'm in your wife's bed. Same thing that he did to Mac Miller about being with Ariana Grande. Ain't that like a scumbag thing to do? Now, I feel it's all fair and games in love and war. A lot of people gonna have their own issues with that. And I mean, I just feel as though, you know, Pete Davidson is a scumbag. That he gets off on having another man's woman. Therefore, he's nothing but another man's child, as he's proving through all of this. And he thinks that this somehow gets him props. This somehow gets him compliments for these things that he do. No, you weak, bruh. You soft. You whack. Nothing about this gets you cool points. A lot of people have their issues with him because of Mac Miller, especially since though he died. Rest in peace, Mac Miller. And you know, I'm not going to sit here and defend this scumbag. Hey, if you feel that kind of way about him, especially over that bullshit, feel that kind of way. Troll him nonstop like he trolls anybody that he tries to quote unquote take the woman, but yet he can't do anything for these women. Really, he's just an overt lame on every level. But people give him a pass. He gets a pass for all of this. So, I mean, to conclude this, because I just gave you the 360 degrees of everything that's going on here. To conclude this, I don't think Kanye West is wrong in his approach on him trying to get Pete Davidson up out the paint. He's using the power that he has in all social media, in all music industry. He's using everything that he got at his disposal to discontinue Pete Davidson. And he has interesting reasons on why. Now, I'm not saying for a fact that any of these things are particularly right. Like, I'm not saying for a fact that he's pedo-styled based on his jokes that I deem that they were straight up jokes. I'm not going to say that. I will say that he's a scumbag that gets off on trying to get other men's women, but yet he really don't do nothing for himself but live off of these women. So therefore, he is nothing more than Kanye West's new stepchild. But then when you look at Trevor Noah, Kanye West getting booted off of IG for only a day, but if you gonna do that for violation of conduct, you should have booted Kylie Jenner for violation of conduct, or am I wrong? Is calling him a rodent an actual racial slur? I don't think so. Because there's an actual definition, and whenever we call people names, there's no actual oppression that's behind it. When they call us racial slurs, there's actual oppression that goes behind that. That's the difference. And Trevor Noah, I got questions on him on whether if he is. He hasn't truly walked over that line, but he got all of the signs of somebody who's just really good at not saying the wrong things while on live. Like, certain people are trained well in order to handle media. Kanye West, clearly not fundamentally trained on how to handle the media. That's why everything that he puts out is getting twisted against him to make it look bad. Trevor Noah is skilled enough that he won't say anything that can be twisted against him. At least it can be twisted against him, but yet there will be people that can defend it because he says it in particular ways, because he's trained in the media to be able to do that. That's how he reached this level where liberal media will promote him, where he can say everything that they want on their agenda, but yet say it in a slick manner that people may not even catch the fact that you being slick. Kanye is a blunt instrument, but yet this blunt instrument ultimately created a $1 billion empire from. Trevor Noah is a sophisticated instrument that walks in and out of conversations so that he cannot be deemed as one thing or the other. There's no definite proof that you can say that he's like Joe Rogan, you can all but definitely say that he has white supremacist ideology. Just like many people in the Ukraine that you can definitely see based on their actions, based on the fact that they got white supremacists within the military that walks around with the Nazi symbols, who were given positions of power within the Ukrainian government, which is why NATO never really let them get into NATO. You can say without a doubt that they have white supremacist ideology in all of Ukraine. And it's spilling out because of the Africans that can't get out of a war-torn country, because the racism from them and Poland and other countries, they're showing that. They're all showing their true colors. Trevor Noah is a lot more slick than that. He's a lot more fundamentally proven to show, like, yo, he's smart. You can't take away from the fact that he's smart, that he's not going to say something that can come back and be used against him. Like, when the police come to you on some, you have the right to remain silent. Whatever you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. When they come at you on that, they mean that. That's why a lot of rappers' lyrics, a lot of individuals, when they spitting, a lot of their stuff tends to get played in court these days. A lot of these people end up getting convicted because they end up snitching on themselves in music that is deemed as art, that Eminem did as he's murdering his wife, giving you detailed instructions on how he would do it. But yet she's still alive, so therefore these detailed instructions are nothing more than art. But yet individuals who look like me individuals who look like Kanye, when you do somewhat of the same thing in an art form, in a music video, everybody's trying to tone it around. Everybody trying to catch a fence. This is harassment. And I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that whatsoever. And keep in mind, I'm not a fan of Kanye West, the individual, because he himself is a rodent, or AKA Coon, AKA Uncle Tom, AKA House Negro, who pretty much as the active definition, going back to the days of slavery, would be usually the children of the slave master as they raped the slave, who would actively rebel, who would actively mess up, actually go against everyone who was a slave for the slave master, because they actually felt like they had more in common with the slave master, even though they were enslaved with other slaves. They felt like they had more in common with the slave master than they had with the actual slaves. Now, keep in mind, not all house Negroes were Uncle Toms. There was a lot of them, not all of them, a few, did you know that the most slaves that ran away from the plantation, they were the house Negroes? Why? Because you think that the house Negroes had it good. They didn't. Like, the female slaves on the plantation out there in the field and all that stuff, or the ones that were inside, they weren't the only ones getting raped. The children of these horrible slave masters, they would rape their own children. They would beat their own children to borderline death. They would allow other people to come in to the plantation to rape them. Some of these house Negroes realize it's worse in the house. Let me get up out of here. But that's not the definition of what I see a Trevor Noah would be. Even though he does say some things that can be perceived on black people's side, the way he words it, the way he walks in and out of these conversations, the way he goes about these things is intelligent, but it walks a very thin line where you cannot definitely say that he's not one. So overall, man, I feel as though Kanye West is right for not trying to have his child in something like social media where we can all see a lot of things happening in social media that's not supposed to be there, based on the violation, the conduct, the code of conduct. A lot of these things that we see that people aren't getting banned for, from recruiting to white supremacists, like they use social media, white supremacists use social media in order to recruit kids into the ranks. But yet these people don't get banned. A lot of these people from January 6th and all of that stuff who get radicalized. A lot of these people first get introduced to things of that nature from social media, from gaming. I ain't mad at Kanye for not wanting his child on that. I'm not mad at Kanye for not wanting his child around someone who's making jokes about, like, sex with kids, with babies. I'm not mad at Kanye West for standing up for himself as a parent. This isn't part of his mental issues. This is him being an actual parent, something that Kim K, I'm not gonna put Kim K in it. Maybe she is a great parent, but based off of what we see that we can pull up from her past all over social media, her kids can pull that up too. Doesn't that somewhat take away the value that she has as a disciplinarian? Just saying. But I am not upset at all for what Kanye is doing, but I see how the media is twisting it and turning it like it's a knife right in his back. I see that Kanye West isn't trained in the skills that Trevor Noah has in order to walk a thin line that you cannot go out against. He's a blunt instrument that's going to tell you how he feels, regardless of if you like it or not. And I respect that. I respect that more than all these other. I respect that way more than Trevor Noah. Like, here's the thing. When you look at politics, I respect Donald Trump more than I do Biden. Because Donald Trump tells us to our face, we don't rock with you black people. We don't like you black people. There's good people on both sides. I respect that. Tell me how you feel so I know how I need to treat you. So I know that you are my enemy, so that I know how to react. But when you look at Biden, who gets into office on some, oh, we're going to have all of these points, this point plan, this 5-point plan for black people, but get in the office, you don't hear nothing about that. Biden, who was doing the same thing as Trevor Noah, walking a thin line on eggshells in order to get elected, in order to get the black vote and all that stuff. But when he gets elected, it's no longer, let's defund the police. It's time to refund the police. At least Trump told us straight out, yo, we gonna pay these people during his election so we know, oh, we ain't got to elect you. We're not on your side, Trump. Thank you for telling us how you feel. Don't wait until you elected to end up telling us exactly how you feel about us when it's too late for anybody to do anything about it. You understand what I'm saying? I respect someone who's brave enough to go ahead and speak your racism to all of us. Because therefore, we can go ahead and do what we need to do. But not these individuals that walk thin lines so that they can not be perceived of what they actually are. And when they get into a position of power, they show you exactly who they are. And then, oh, you can't do nothing about it. You the one who voted for me. Bruh, are you serious? Are you serious? So, I'm not mad at Kanye West at all for anything that he's doing. Even though he's a rodent. Even though he keep the Make America Great Again. Even though he's still trying to get Trump to be featured in on all of his content. Even though he's trying to do all of that, it is what it is. In this instance, this one instance, I'm not backing Kanye because I don't back rodents at all. I understand though. I understand, and I don't think you're absolutely wrong here. I think how everything is getting dragged out, all of that, a lot of that is wrong. Phil, a lot of that is wrong. But they're going to twist it, and they gonna get, hey man, Kanye's not gonna win this. They already trying to spin it as we see it right now. It's never a good look. But that's all I had to say, man. Today we made it a whole hour. I appreciate everybody that came through, man. Everybody that's in the back looking at the views, man. Everybody on the playback. Everybody that came through, man. I appreciate all of y'all. But man, I ain't eat nothing all day and it's 12 o'clock. Let me go ahead, grab something to eat, and I'm about to record that song that I've been writing. I'm trying to do it tonight as long as I'm not tired. As long as I don't get too tired. Man, I might even take a nap, wake back up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go ahead and record this. I don't know. But I'ma try to record it tonight. But I appreciate everybody, man. I catch you guys the next stream, or what's today? Today is Wednesday? Well, it's Thursday now. So Thursday night is the mixtape reviews. Album reviews. Album review probably coming tomorrow, but it depends on what drops, clearly. But we gonna see where it goes. But I appreciate everybody coming through, man. Somebody just came in, man. Go ahead, hit that playback, run it back from the top who just came in. Appreciate you coming through. I'll holla at y'all.